There we go.
Cool. All right.
There
So
we
what have you
go.
been working on?
Okay. I'm cracking up. So before you joined, I was like, I'm gonna refamiliarize myself with my code base and prepare for you. So just so you're right. So we're working on freecomplement.com. Free Complement. It's like literally it's a Node website. I vibe coded it. I don't know Node. I'm not, and I'm not a front end developer. I'm like more comfortable with some back end stuff. So I vibe coded it, and super simple. It took a few hours. It gives a random it like takes a random complement from a database. You can choose to get a backhanded one. And you and I had talked about adding um, some sort of on-chain capability. You claim it's super easy. I am here to prove you wrong. Okay. Anyway, so I was saying, so for the last 45 minutes, I'm like, well, because I don't know Node, let me just see if I
Mhm,
can learn, like, just logically how things are
mhm,
organized. Because you and I had said, I was like, even if we can't add everything, even if we just kind of scaffold things out.
mhm.
So one, I spent some time to take all of my CSS and put it in external CSS file. They're all in just like blocks
Mhm.
in each page. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna make this super nice. So I
Make
did
it
that,
nice. Yeah.
tested it, looks great. Then I decided to break up my server.js page
Mhm.
because I was like, all the logic is in there. I'm like, I don't think
Mhm.
that's what it's for. Cursor just walked me through how to I kind of broke it up into like, here, we'll break out, put the API somewhere else. Anyway, tested it. And then I realized I effed something up and I just wiped everything out and I just reverted all my changes and threw them all away. So
Beautiful. Beautiful.
back to exactly where we were 45 minutes ago.
Beautiful. Oh my God. Yeah, that happens every day. But yeah, who cares if your server.js file is a big file? Like it
I
doesn't.
know.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. I like things super neat. If you saw what my
Yeah.
inside of my closet looked like. Anyway, um, so how do you recommend we do this?
I figured let's just start off with you going over the code base first and showing like what the stack of it is and what you have
Okay.
already set up for like the database or all of that stuff. And then I'm gonna send you a link to my 4 quadrants on-chain analysis NFT, just so you can see
Okay.
the code for it and see how it works. And then we'll talk about how to add in an NFT after that.
Alrighty. Um, I just made the repo public as
Awesome.
well.
Awesome.
So, um, and it's funny, I have no objection to making anything public. It's just as a noob, I have no idea what
Yeah.
I'm putting in here in terms of secrets.
100%.
Like,
Yep.
I'm pretty sure there's nothing in here. I did ask the question about, the only thing I had a question about was that manifest file.
Yeah.
And I was like, is
Yeah. It's
this,
all
but then
public.
and
Yeah.
then I realized you can just hit it over your
Yeah.
URL, like any, so
Yeah.
I was like, I think that's fine. So just, here is
Beautiful.
the repo. It's a Tenger free complement website, and I'll throw that. I can, which I think you might already have access to, but I can throw that into the chat.
Mm-hmm.
And then I will open up my cursor.
Cool.
Let's do this, and I'm on. Nope. What IDE do you
I
like?
use cursor.
Uh-huh. Okay. And by the way, if we're in here, is this big enough for you to see?
Yeah, this is good.
I realize it's not like a full zoom
No, it's
type
perfect.
screen share. Okay. The data files are just JSON files
Okay, cool.
that list complements.
Awesome.
One complements, one backhanded, that's there. I have the public directory that has 3 HTML sites. Index, which is where you go to when you first come in, gives you your nice complement, 2 buttons underneath it where you can choose to get a backhanded one or an about page.
Cool.
And then I guess there's a server.js page. This is what handles like the routing, loads the file, creates the, I guess, the SVG that's needed for a frame.
Yeah, no, that looks great. How do you have this hosted?
This is hosted on Render.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, hosted on Render, free tier.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, honestly, all of this makes sense.
Mhm.
Nothing in here too complicated. There are, I'm a little sorry you had to use Express and Node. That doesn't sound super fun, but it all looks good and makes perfect sense. So what we want to work on now is, before we actually get into it, let me send you a link to what I have for the on-chain interaction stuff.
Mhm.
So we're doing, let's do the static HTML instructions because that's the easiest. I just sent you the link here,
Okay.
and in here you're already using the first part, which is calling the stk.actions.ready. But I just want you to scroll down a little bit to where it says minting and familiarize yourself with that code.
Oh, wait, hold on. I just lost. Hold on. Okay, so I'm looking at frame v2 integration.
Yeah, and then if you
No,
scroll down to the bottom, it should say minting.
loading. Minting. Yeah.
Okay, so after we set up the contract, all we want to do is call that you're seeing there. So it's the first thing is we grab the account of the person who's logged in using the frame wallet. We figure out how to call the mint function, and then we just call it like that, and then it'll open up a pop-up that says, "Hey, you're about to receive a free compliment NFT or something."
All right.
All right.
So, okay.
Let's not put it in that yet. I just want to put it in that. If what you could do if you want is you could make a docs folder in this code base and just drop that markdown file in it so Cursor has access to it. That's pretty much how I start every one of my projects. Is I make like a docs/frame integration.md, and I copy paste that file into it.
Docs.
Cool. And then, yeah, if you go on GitHub, you can hit raw to get the full markdown file for that one.
And you're literally just copy and pasting.
Yep. Bingo. Yep.
Okay.
And then now, yep, that looks great.
All right. Awesome. Okay.
So do you want to get started on the actual contract first? Do you want to get started on the UI for minting first? What feels more comfortable for you?
I don't know. Generally, I feel like we should start with the back end stuff.
Sounds good. That makes perfect sense to me.
The way my brain works is like I still want to be able to see it. Like, how does it? So I tend to like to start UI stuff, but I think contract makes sense.
Okay, let me send you the link to my on-chain analysis contract, and let's go through that quickly a bit, and then I'll explain to you how to make the actual contract.
Okay. And then maybe what? Okay, get that. And then I can share this screen. Oh wait, you just sent me.
It's a Basecamp URL.
Okay, yeah, hold on. Let me just pull it into. So I guess streaming is fun, but it makes it also harder to share screens.
Yeah.
Hold on, because I have to like only share one at a time. But let me just go back. Present. Okay.
Cool. Okay.
Okay.
Awesome. Yep, that's going to be our reference scan. And then this is just the contract for the on-chain analysis NFT that I made. And if you click on where it says contract, you're going to be shocked at how short the code is.
Okay. This over here.
Yeah, and then just the contract check mark one more time on the tab that says contract. It has the green.
Okay.
Yep. And then this first file is literally all of the code. So everything else in here is
file libraries. one of 15?
Yeah, all of the other 15 are dependencies that are coming in
Oh.
from what's called Open Zeppelin, which is like the state of the art verified contracts and stuff that we use.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Okay.
this 25 lines is the entirety of my contract. Yours is going to be a little bit more complicated because, so basically how mine works is it initializes a new ERC721, which is the NFT EIP. It has a mint function that all it does is increments the current token ID by 1.
Mm-hmm.
And then it has a base URI function, which all it does, these are both required functions for an ERC721, which all it does is it returns that URL that you see hard-coded on line 8. So if you copy paste the URL on line 8, the onchain analysis.kazero.code/tokens, and go to like /0, you'll see what the actual JSON looks like.
Oh.
Cool. So it's this. It has a name, a description, a link to an image, background color, and then some attributes. Mine is stored off-chain because I actually like upload the images to CDN and put the name of it in a database.
The image is off-chain.
Mm-hmm.
And then are the attributes on-chain then?
No, the attributes are also off-chain. They're on my website.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, so it's not, and you can actually check it by, if you go back into the base scan route and then go back a page to the transactions. So, yep, and then click on like on-chain alignment 3049 or something on the far right side of your page.
30, yeah.
Yeah, and then right here it says classification off-chain. So it's an NFT, and the ownership of the NFT exists on-chain, but the actual JSON data and the image are off-chain.
Got it.
For yours, it's actually very easy. Not easy, that's a hard word to say. For yours, it makes perfect sense to make it all on-chain because you already have SVG data. And the chain can store all of that SVG data.
Okay.
So
and then is it more expensive to mint? Like
not on base, it really doesn't matter. Yeah, it'll be like 1/10 of a cent versus 1/5 of a cent or something.
Okay.
Yeah. But it also is more authentic, and it more fits the ethos of the cryptocurrency world and blah, blah, blah. But like mine doesn't do it. And then I forget the name of the guy who made the Framedle frame. He also didn't do it on chain, and then we were like, yeah, who cares? Like, as long as it works, like who cares?
But you own, it's you own the pointer. I mean, I assume this is how crypto the game works. Like you have a dynamic NFT. They're changing it. They're not.
Yeah, exactly. If you want to make the NFT changing, but just because you have SVG, it's how Faces of Farcaster worked, is they did SVG on Mint on the chain, and because you already have the SVG generation code, it makes it pretty. It makes sense to do it all on chain.
Makes sense.
So what I want to do now is I want to actually get the exact contract that I have made running on your computer.
Oh, okay.
How we're going to do that is there's a lot of CLIs for this. There's Truffle, there's Hard Hat. The one that I like using is called Foundry Forge. So you'll need to install that. If you just Google like Foundry Forge install, it'll show up.
Okay. Is this going to be a problem that I am on a Windows machine?
No, it'll be fine.
Okay.
It'll be fine.
I had the Unix or the Linux
Windows subsystem for Linux.
I had it. I killed it.
That's fine. It should work.
I literally am because I'm just developing on my Windows. Okay.
It should work in PowerShell and stuff. I mean, we'll find out very soon, but it should work in PowerShell.
Foundry Forge crypto. Is that not GitHub Foundry?
Yep. That's it.
This one. Okay, so do I want to create a new project for all the on-chain stuff?
Yeah, you want to make well, first we have to install this, but yeah, you want to make a new folder like free compliments contract or free compliments NFT or whatever you want to call it. Yeah.
Okay. And this is the right one. Install if you encountered. Okay.
Ooh, those are not Windows instructions. Oh, there it is. It says you need to use ASL.
Oh, I do. Where is this? Oh, if you need to install git bash or Selenium. Okay. My first red block. All right. Should we put a pin in this? Work on the front end, and then I'll do the.
Do you want me to take over and show you what it's like so you can figure out how to do it, or do you want to just work on the front end? Either is totally fine for me.
Maybe the front end, but let me just take my let me just do the notes for the back for the contract notes because I can go offline and do this later. So I need to install Foundry what was it? Forge Foundry.
Yep.
But it needs WSL, which I have done before. I just
Mhm.
don't have it set up now. So the did I? There's the sample contract.
And then that
Wait, and
contract
why
is
was
also on GitHub.
okay? Why? And then what was in this? This was the frame stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. When you said my contract would be a little more complicated, is that because you're not minting for yourself, but you're wanting to send to someone
No,
else?
that part is pretty reasonable. The difference is yours is going to be all on chain, hopefully.
Oh,
Because you
okay.
have the SVGs already that you're generating, so you could just pass that into the contract. So instead of doing like a mint function that just says mint and it goes to the sender, you do a mint function that says who it goes to and what the SVG data is going to be.
Okay.
But Cursor will take care of all of that for you.
Okay. And maybe, got it. All right. I was like, and maybe when I first do it, I'll make it simple and mint it for myself. But
Yeah.
instead of sending it to someone else and then can add the gifting as later. So is the easiest way to do this, you think, from a UI perspective?
Have you used the Frames.js debugger?
No.
Okay, I think it's, let me grab you the link, because that's where that's to connect your wallet. That's where we're gonna need to do stuff. I believe it's debugger.framesjs.org.
Okay. Debugger.
.framesjs.org. And then this isn't the actual Farcaster debugger, but they're working on making the Farcaster debugger better. So for now, this is the one that we use. And cool. So put in your free compliments URL at the top. And this is just going to simulate loading it in a frame. Cool. And then hit debug, and hopefully it should. Oh, sorry. Where it says select protocol, you need to do Farcaster v2.
Okay.
And then if you really want, you could use your phone to log in with Farcaster, so it actually has access to your wallet, which you'll probably need if we're going to do the on-chain interactions. Yeah.
Okay. Use a real signer. Okay.
And then, yeah, I should just have you scan it in your camera app. This debugger is where I spent like the majority of my time.
In terms of work, like, because
it's a lot simpler than like what you can do with this debugger, which we don't necessarily need to do, is you can run it locally on your computer. So then if you have like npm run dev and it has like localhost 3000 or whatever, you can type it in here. So you can continuously be verifying the frame without needing to actually push code or anything.
Okay. Got it.
Cool. Awesome. Signed in. And then let's just hit debug and see what happens. Beautiful. A free compliment came in, which is great. And then if you hit the get a free compliment button, it should open up the actual frame.
Right. This is the frame loading, right? So this was like, it finds it. That's the SVG.
Yeah. And that's the FC frame metadata that you have is what's coming up in there. And you can see it on the right side. It says FC frame version next image URL, so on. Okay. And then now the frame is open, and that is just telling you don't have a webhook set up for notifications, but who cares about that?
Okay.
What I want to do in here is if you open up the, I don't know what browser you're in, but if you open up the developer tools, you should be able to see any console logs that you have.
Oh my goodness. I don't, where are dev tools? Is it is it F10?
That is a great question. My keyboard doesn't have those keys. If you just right click on the back of this page, it should show up as like an inspect element or something.
Inspect, yes.
Okay, perfect. And then go over to that console tab.
Is it down or up top?
I believe it's up top. It's the one right next to elements. The one that looks like yeah, perfect. Okay. So here's all your stuff. What we can do now is I want to start off by just getting the logged in user's wallet. So what I would recommend is we add a button that says like mint, and then the only thing it does is it console logs the logged in wallet, so we can verify that it actually is connected to your Warplet or whatever you use as your primary wallet.
Okay, so we can start playing. So this is on index.
And then switch your screen so we can see your code.
Oh, all right. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna just probably share my whole desktop.
Cool.
Because,
Yeah, there won't be any private keys or anything, so we should be okay.
Then I can go back and forth. Shares. Okay. Then we can go back and forth.
Yep. Do you have npm installed on your command prompt or stuff?
Yes, I do.
Okay, perfect. Then what we can actually even do is, and then there's a command you can run like npm run dev or something to get this running on localhost.
Yes, I can do that.
Okay, cool. So, yeah, just say add a button that calls minting or something,
add a button,
and then
that has label mint this complement.
Cool.
I don't have access to your code base.
Oh, you gotta add the file in. Yeah, you gotta. You can what you can do is you can just type in @ and then the file name. So you can type in @ index.html, and you can type in @ frame integration dot
index.
Yeah.
.html. Okay, so wait.
And then is there a JavaScript file or is everything in index?
Everything's well, I have the server.js.
Okay, cool, cool. No, that's totally fine. And then can you also give it the docs we added? So like frame integration or something, and tell it that
index.html.
You have to do the @ first. Yeah.
No, I added it already. Index.html is the file. I want the button on, and then docs frame integration. What is has
the frame integration library or whatever.
Frame integration library.
And then tell it that what you want the mint button to do is log the logged in wallet. So like console log the wallet.
Okay, the mint button just needs to console log the wallet address of who is logged in to the frame. And this is, should this be on agent mode then? Oh,
either one you want, it's fine. Agent mode will just save the file changes directly. Ask will
okay. I just started looking at, I just used agent mode for the first time recently.
I use it all the time for stuff. It's really nice because you can make it like, it can run 25 commands at a time. So you can just tell it what you want in extreme detail and then go do something else and then come back and hopefully it'll be done.
Right. And then this here, it's like, you don't need to accept, I would notice you don't need to accept the changes before you test them.
Yeah.
Like right. So here I can npm run dev.
Yep. And then if you open up localhost, whatever, it should show the mint button right now.
And oh, there we go. Hold on. And I'm going to put this on.
Perfect. And it has a mint button. And then right now, if you hit the mint button, nothing should work because we're not in the actual frame debugger. But what we should do is, can you go to, I should say undefined because it didn't find that. Yep. Let's install the frame debugger locally so we can actually do it against this. So if you go to framesjs.org, it should have instructions on how to launch it.
Framesjs.org.
Yeah. Perfect. That's right there. Yeah. And so just run that in PowerShell or command prompt or whatever you use. Perfect. Perfect. And then let's let it install. So what we're going to be able to do after this is we're going to be able to run frames on your CLI, like just literally the word frames and hit enter. And then it'll open up the debugger locally. So you can put in localhost :3000 or whatever it is, and then you get the frame experience all on your computer. The other way of doing this that is on the docs that I'm really hoping they update is you can set up a reverse proxy on your computer using Ngrok or Cloudflare or something. And then, yeah, that's too much for me. It's just, it's too much.
I
Yeah.
saw that when I was first playing around. I was like, oh, and I did try to do it, and then I
Yeah.
it didn't work immediately, and I was like, F it. I just
No, it's too much. Yep. The only downside is this is technically the Frames.js debugger is made by volunteers, so it's not like exactly on Farcaster. It's made by Steph Sanel or whoever that just got hired by Base. So now I'm pretty sure it doesn't have an active maintainer anymore. But
that's Stephen Sill.
Yeah.
He got hired by Base.
I think a couple of weeks ago he said he did. Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
His URL is. I was trying to figure out. Prof and I on our show were trying to figure out how to. We were guessing on how to pronounce his name.
Yeah.
I was like, is it Stefan or is it Steven? And then he gave me his personal URL is steer.fun.
Love.
And he said that's how you pronounce the name.
Steerfun.
Steerfun.
I would have I would have never guessed that. Okay.
I think he's maybe from South Africa.
Yeah, but him and another person do the Frames.js stuff as a very nice public service.
Bless their heart.
Okay. Almost done. Yeah, and I think you're right. Start off by minting it for yourself, and then you can send it to someone in your workplace.
Yeah.
Because that's going to be easier. Yeah. And then just type in frames and hit enter, and everything should work. You might need to open up a new terminal and type in frames.
Yeah, you know what I've also found I need to do is sometimes just like close and restart cursor.
No, that sounds really
is that not
horrible. Can you try running npx frames, npx space frames?
215 found added.
Yeah, I definitely added it, but we got to figure out how to
npx space frames.
Yeah. Nope. Let me. I'm asking Claude.
Oh.
How about this? Can you open up command prompt on your computer instead of inside of this, and let's see if it works there?
Oh, I think I might need this also in system. But we can.
Let's just try it and see. Yeah.
Just frames.
Okay, let's do it. Let's do it.
Is this because I'm on Windows? Is this because I'm not on it?
It is, but we'll fix it.
Sorry.
Don't worry. No, we'll fix it. We'll fix it. In the free components website folder, let me send you the command to run, and let's hope that that works. Bin frames /bin. So we're just going to try calling it from the node modules directly. So inside of your cursor terminal, try typing in that and see if that does anything.
Oh, we're getting a weird infinity screen. That's nasty. I'm sorry about that. Everybody.
No, you need to be in cursor because we need to be inside.
No, I was just cut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got it.
Sorry, I'm not. Okay. So from a PowerShell in free compliments website.
Okay, let's look at it. Can you do dir node modules /bin?
What was it?
dir.
Oh,
it's the command and then node modules.
Dot, or it doesn't matter.
It should work fine. Yeah.
Node modules
/bin. Okay. Let's see if we can find frames in here. It is not installed in there. Because when we installed it, the Frames SDK might have installed it globally. No, actually, I don't think that's right. It should have. Can you go hit up a few times so we can see the command that we wrote?
Sorry. We did
npm install frames.
Install frames.
Yeah, that should have installed it right there. And npx frames didn't work. Let's try npm install space -g space frames.js to install it
And
globally.
is that global?
Yeah. And then it'll take a second to install, but hopefully all of it will be cached,
Okay.
so it should be quick. And then, yeah, just for the record, I also use Windows. I just live inside the WSL.
Do you do? Mm-hmm.
It used to be really shitty, but then they came out with WSL 2, and now it's a lot nicer. So I use it a lot. If this doesn't work, what we can just do is we can push this code to your server and then use the debugger.framesjs1 too. It's just it'll be faster if we can get this working.
Yeah, I might actually need to actually get a real, like, even if it's not real, but like a dedicated dev environment set
Yeah.
up for myself. Like I just, at some point, it makes
WSL
sense.
is honestly really fine for it. It used to
Mhm.
suck, but it's a lot nicer now.
The only issue is you can't really play with the files on your, like, through Windows.
You can. It's a little complicated. Let me show you how while we're waiting on this. Let me steal the screen
Okay.
share and show you how to do that.
Okay. I think you can just go ahead. Actually, maybe I need to remove that. Do you have a present?
Yep. I think I'm able to steal it now while we're. Is it showing?
Oh, hold on. No. Oh, I just need to add it to the stage.
Okay, awesome. Let me show you how to do that in here. So if I go here and I do on-chain crypto alignment, what did I call it? NFT. And then from here, let's say, so we're inside of my Linux server right now.
Mm-hmm.
And there's two things we can do. We can just open up cursor directly from here. Every time I use cursor, it needs to update for some reason. And and then let's hope that it opens up. Cool. So cursor space dot just opens up the exact cursor you're used to playing with in WSL mode. And then the other thing you can do is you can do xdg open dot, and it just opens it in Finder. So you can put it in anything you want to do.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so you can just drag and drop any of these
Right.
files into anywhere you want and use them in anything.
Cool.
And then just while we're here, let me show you what's going to happen. So my recommendation for the contract is we're going to come in here, and you're going to have a really basic ERC 721 like this.
Mm-hmm.
And then all I recommend doing is we come into cursor and we say, can you update this contract file to accept arbitrary SVG from the user when they call mint? And then it should just take care of everything on its own. And then the really, really nice thing about Foundry and Truffle and Hardhat and all of the other SDKs for this is what you can do first is you can, and then yeah, so it makes a variable called token SVG. It says when someone tries to access what the URL for the token is, we just return it as a string hard-coded. It's just JSON hard-coded string. And then now it's adding in, oh, here's the mint function. So instead of just calling mint, you call in mint with SVG data, and it stores the SVG data into this token.
Right.
So there's a lot going on here, I know, but if you start off with the basic ERC 721 and do a mint and make sure that it works, and then you can update it with what cursor says, and then it should kick in. Was that too fast, or
It's fine. I mean,
okay.
yeah.
You have to do it yourself.
I have to adjust. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. And then the other really nice thing about Foundry that I was going to mention is you can deploy to a testnet first. So you can deploy to the base testnet. It's called Sepolia. And then in the debugger that we're using too, you can switch it over to Sepolia, and you can actually try minting it on a testnet first, seeing if it works before you actually push it to production. Cool. So let me stop sharing and let's see if yours came back. Okay, try running frames now and let's see if it does the trick. Try running npx frames now, and let's see if it does the trick. And if it doesn't, whatever, we just won't use the local debugger.
Mm?
Ah, okay. Okay, yeah, let's just use the hosted debugger. Do you mind? What's your CI/CD pipeline? Like, can you push this code to GitHub and it'll automatically go to the website, or how does that work?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's commit this. Let's accept all the changes. Let's commit this and let's upload it to GitHub.
Okay. Accept file. Was that everything?
I think it was just
right?
that one file. Yeah.
Is it? And then here.
Very
And then,
hardcore
right.
that you use the Git CLI.
That's what
I use it too. Yeah.
So for some reason though, and then so I have to do git add. The like new files are not automatically getting added, and I don't know why.
Yeah, if you want to be really hacky, you can just do git add space dash A with a capital A, and it'll just add whatever is changed. Yep.
Okay. So
the issue is if you do that, it might commit like environment files and stuff, but you don't have any of those. So yeah.
Right. I have my git ignore, git status.
Okay,
oh,
then,
no,
yeah,
no. Sorry, git. Okay, git commit, and then added our mint button that does nothing.
Cool.
And
awesome. Oh, you use Husky.
Oh yeah, it was and then so git push. Okay, and then that will take us where to? Okay, that's there.
Cool.
Is there anything on my render? Is there anything on my render dashboard that's sensitive? I think not, right?
I mean, you can also just
think so.
Yeah, you can also just load the site and see what it does. Okay.
Farcaster. Free compliment website. I got my bot. Deploy started.
Okay, cool.
These deploys are pretty quick though.
Yeah, not yet, but we'll get there. And then, yeah, if you can use the debugger locally, you can skip all this stuff, which will make it faster.
Yeah.
And then just while it's happening, let's go to the index.html and look at the code that it actually wrote just to spot check it. So let's look at what happens when the mint button is called. So it calls mint complement. And then if you control, you can hold down control and just click on mint complement, and it should go into yep.
Oh, cool.
Okay. So yeah, and what it does is it calls the window frame F provider, it calls request account, and then it prints out the hex address of your account. So that's perfect. That's exactly what we want.
Okay. And the frame SDK, it gets added to my package, and that's how
it gets added
render,
to.
Like that's how.
It's if you go open up your server.js and then just search for frames in here. Maybe search for Farcaster in here. There it is. That's where the frame SDK is coming from.
Okay.
So you're not actually loading it from your npm dependencies. You're loading it from JS deliver, but it does the exact same logic, so we don't have to worry about it.
Script source. All right. Let's. Nope. Wrong. It's still deploying. That's.
It should finish very soon because the other one took 2 minutes. So this one should take 2 minutes too. And then while we're waiting on this, I'll explain the logistics of how it's going to go. Because you're going to do all of your minting directly on chain, you don't have to worry about the semantics. But like how I had to set up for the on-chain analysis is we do the minting. All that does is it returns a token ID. We then have to send that token ID to the backend, and we have to say, hey, this image URL and this metadata corresponds to token 349 or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So then when people load /token/349, it does a database lookup, it gets all of the information, and then it returns that JSON.
That's because it's off chain.
Yeah, it's because it's off chain.
Like,
yeah.
Right.
For yours, it's all going to be on the
Um,
contract, so you don't have to worry about any of that stuff. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, and it sounds like you have confidence in Cursor AI that this should be able to guide me. So it's like, I'll create a separate project for the contract. That's Solidity. We'll take your contract, modify it to take an SVG, follow directions. AI is going to guide me through how to deploy it.
Yep.
I have to deploy it like it's like you use a certain one of my wallet accounts, right?
Yeah,
like,
you can make a new one, or you can use the other one. The hard part is you have to export your private key, which I don't know if your Warplet will let you do that right now. I know they are working on it.
Right.
So
Not
it
the
might
phrase,
need to be
the private
yes,
key.
yeah. It's a hex phrase. It's not your 12
like
words. It's a hex. Yeah.
Oh, all right. So otherwise, it's spin something up new. You spin up a new deployer type.
Yep. And then you deploy to Sepolia, you open up Basescan, you play around with it, and so on.
And then the contract just exists, right? Anyone can use it.
Forever.
It's there.
Yeah.
And then my frame UI gets updated to call that contract.
Yeah, we can actually look at that. If you open up the LLM instructions file that we added in your docs folder.
Yeah.
And then in here, search for Mint. So you have to do a combination of two of them, unfortunately, because we're going to be passing in Mint data. But if you, where is it?
No, hold on.
There it is. Okay. As you can see in here, what we do is the very first thing we do is we grab your account, similar to how we're doing it right now for the console log. Then you could make this simpler by, I don't actually think it's simpler. What some people do is they use a router on top of the provider. So they use like WAGMI or VM or Ethers.js or something. That makes it way too complicated for me personally. So I just use the ETH provider that Frames gives you directly. And then in the ETH provider, you can see what it's doing is it's calling a method called send transaction. It's from your wallet to the hard-coded address for the contract. And then in this case, just because we're calling Mint with no arguments, we can pass in what's on line 203, which is that Mint function signature. Let me show you where that Mint function signature comes from. If you can go back to Basescan for my contract for a second. On-chain analysis, yeah. And then go to the contract. And then go to write contract on top, the button that says write.
Yeah.
Yep. And then there should be a Mint in here. So that's exactly where I get it from. So you can hit copy on the right side and you'll copy it. But because you can't actually pass in Mint to the contract, you have to pass in the hex value that corresponds to Mint. And that's what I have in the code. If you look at it, it says OX12429, whatever. So it's that exact same thing right there.
Right.
What is going to get more difficult for you is because you're not just going to call Mint open parenthesis, close parenthesis, you have to call Mint with the SVG data. If you scroll down a tiny bit, there's a thing in here on how to call a custom function. So it's like the third or fourth one after this. And then again, just to be clear, you're not going to do this by hand. Cursor's going to read all of this and do it for you. So in here, what we're doing is we're calling a custom function. And in my contract, the function was get player stats, and the address we pass in is the ETH address of the user. In your contract, it's going to be Mint SVG data. And then what you do in here is you can send in the data. So it's contract, function payload, padded address, all that stuff on line 337. Yeah. So you're going to do, it's very similar to the minting. The only difference is you need to also send in the payload of the function, which is what line 320, whatever it is. The function payload line.
Is that what this is?
Yep.
The ETH call.
Yeah, the other one was ETH send transaction, and all it was to the contract address from your address, and it called Mint. This one, in my case, calls get player stats, but in your case would call mint with the SVG data. So I know that was a lot, but Cursor should be able to parse all of that for you and do it.
This is, let's check logs.
Yeah, it's taking a while. Let's see. Okay. It's still deploying. It's probably because we added Frames.js as a dependency, so it's installing Frames.js on the back end and all of that stuff.
Okay.
But it should just be a one-time thing. Cool. So all of this markdown file in here is for Cursor to read and figure out how to actually pass in the mint function. What you could do if you want, just to get a bearing of it, is using Foundry Forge, Forge Foundry, whatever it is, you can implement a really basic ERC721, like the one that I have in my contract. It won't actually load any NFTs because you don't have a server connected to it. But you can load that, and then in your front end, you can ask Cursor to add in the minting functionality to the contract address. And then if you go on Basescan or Block Scout, you should actually see that your account now owns NFT number 0 or something, even though it'll be a broken NFT that won't have anything associated with it. And then if that works well, you can then make it complicated to do the on-chain data saving.
While we're waiting for this to deploy, which is, and what we did there, and just so in my mind, right, we deployed something that just now is using the Frames SDK so that I have awareness that that there's a wallet. While that's waiting, when I create the contract project, do you recommend, should I be starting from another project? Like what template do I use?
You're gonna just type in Forge init. And all it's going to do is it's going to create a sample project where it's going to have a contract called counter, and it's going to be so you first have to make the folder. You make like the maker of free complement frame, and then you go in the folder and you type in Forge init, and then what it's going to do is it's going to create a file for you called counter.sol, which is the Solidity file for contract called counter. What you can basically do is you can either ask sorry, I skipped a step. You have to install OpenZeppelin after you do the Foundry Forge in it.
Okay, install Foundry Forge. Okay. Install OpenZeppelin.
Yeah, and then if you open up the OpenZeppelin docs, like if you just Google OpenZeppelin, it will say here's the exact command to type in to Foundry to do it.
Okay. OpenZeppelin docs will give instructions for how to use Foundry.
Yep, and it's something as simple as like Foundry add OpenZeppelin or something like that.
Okay.
Cool. So what you're gonna do after you get and I can actually do this on my computer and show to you too. What you can do is ask Cursor to translate the counter.sol into an absolute minimalist ERC721, like the one that I showed you on the contract.
So ask it to convert counter.sol to an absolute minimum ERC721.
I don't know why we still call it that. There's going to be, you don't call tokens ERC20 is what we call NFTs ERC.
People do. I feel like people do though.
Oh, that's interesting.
To an asset minimum ERC721. ERC721 being what we know is NFT.
Yep, non-fungible token.
Yeah.
Yep, EIP. Yep. The next thing you can have Cursor do is one of the really things that we, because Solidity contracts are immutable, it gets stored on the blockchain and no one can change it ever again. It's really important to do unit tests on them. And then Foundry Forge is already set up to take care of all of this stuff. You just have to tell Cursor, like, do some basic ERC721 tests. And what it'll set up is it'll make sure someone can mint. It'll make sure if someone tries to like access token ID 999, it'll say this token doesn't exist. It'll make sure that people can transfer the tokens from each other all in a isolated test environment.
Oh, we're getting messages. I'm a suck.
Oh, people
Steven,
are watching.
Stefan,
Stefan. Steerfin. Okay. Steerfin, like steer.fun. That makes sense.
Steerfun. You need to
Yeah.
install the debugger. You installed the frames library. npx frames.js
Ah.
debugger.
Okay.
Hey,
Okay. See, it's so nice to have people watch it. But hold on. Let's see if the deploy finished first, just so we can get something out of it in here. Yeah.
No, it's not. It's taking a minute.
Oh, it is. Okay, good,
okay.
good. So just while we're here, you definitely should do what Steerfun said. Damn, we were so close. We can still do that. You can just run it inside of the terminal and it'll do it.
Okay,
but
anyway,
while we're doing this, let's just do this. Yeah. Perfect.
Hey, okay. This is so exciting.
Go to the frame debugger that you opened up on the left, the debugger.js. Yeah. Not here, the one that actually says frame debugger is the I'm pointing
localhost frame debugger. Okay.
Perfect. And then now hit get a free complement again to restart the sorry, the
Can I go from down here?
The refresh button, that's you can do either one. You can either hit that or you can hit get a free complement as the action button. And then hit that refresh button right there on the right side of the embed. So what you refresh, that one is going to refresh the inline. This one's going to refresh the actual frame. Okay. And then here's where it gets fun. If you hit mint this complement, it should print out your warplet address.
Okay. Provider.
You don't have a wallet connected. Scroll up to the very top. You need to hit connect wallet.
Okay.
And then yeah.
Where's my warplet?
Warplet will work directly natively inside of the app, but because this is inside the debugger, you need to use like Rainbow or Coinbase Wallet or whatever you have.
All right, let's see if we can do this.
Fun fact: Rainbow's been broken on my phone for like 2 years, so I can't use it.
Well, I have trouble. Okay, debugger frames.js. JS wants to connect.
Perfect. Connected to ETH. On the top right, just it doesn't really matter, but it would be ideal if you switch. When you do the minting, you need to switch over to Base instead of ETH. But for now, it really, really, really doesn't matter.
Oh, we're gonna do this. Yeah. Oh, and there's my wallet address. Okay.
So now if you hit mint this complement, there's your wallet address. So we're connecting on chain.
Okay. Yep. Right. And not that the frame, this frame has awareness that someone on Farcaster, it has their wallet address.
Yeah, and you're connected to that, and you can make like transactions and stuff now.
Oh. Bravo.
Yep. So what we have to do now, again, just to recap, is go through the ERC721, set that up. Strongly recommend doing a really basic one first, and then updating this when you get the local debugger running, so you don't have to actually do deployments. You can update that to call mint, which is exactly what's in the frame integration markdown file. So
get local debugger working.
Yep. Thank you, Stephen.
Thank you.
Stephen.
That was what actually we'll get here.
Yep. So we ran the SDK, not the debugger, which fun, but we'll get there.
Okay.
So that's going to do that. The next thing you want to do is you want to set up a really basic ERC721, like we talked about right above this in the contract notes.
Not an SVG one, you're saying?
I think that's a better one to start off with.
Which one? Just like a basic one?
Just a basic one, and then you're going to mint it, and it's going to be like Adrienne's NFT number 0 or whatever you want to call it. And as long as that shows up on Basescan, it means you did everything correctly.
Okay, so set up a basic, right, I can hard code a complement, do something. It's just, it's a hello world. And I'm using this just to test that I can deploy to base.
Yep.
Test, deploy to base, yada, etc. Okay.
And then what I strongly recommend, just because calling the mint function with the SVG data is a little bit tricky. So what I would recommend is having Cursor update your mint button to call what's in the markdown file under minting.
Okay. Have Cursor update mint button to call the, it's like, that's the basic mint.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so mint without any arguments, which all it's
Yeah.
going to do is increment the number by 1 and say token 1 belongs to address so and so.
Got it. And there's nothing, and what is the token? It's
Nothing.
It's my hello world.
Yeah,
Or it's
going to
literally
be a
nothing.
link
It's
to an
just,
empty JSON file. So
okay.
if you try to load it, it's just going to say nothing exists here.
Okay. Okay.
But at the very least, you should be able to go to Basescan and see that the token got transferred to your wallet.
Okay.
If that
So
works,
that's
everything is golden.
right. Then we upgrade to SVG contract.
Mm-hmm.
Then Cursor will update mint button to call the custom
Mint with SVG.
mint.
Yeah.
Yeah, the custom mint function, mint with SVG, passing in the SVG of the complement. And that just goes to whoever, right? It just here, you get your compliment, you can mint
It goes to the
it goes to the
whoever's
logged in.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then
I think this is a good place to start.
Okay, perfect. What you can do later on, you don't have to do it right now, but what you can do later on is make it so the mint function takes both the SVG and the recipient. Because right now it's going to mint it to the person who calls the contract. But in the future, you can make it so mint takes one argument, SVG data, a second argument, and address.
And for now, we can pass in the user's address, but if we want to, then
by default, it's going to send a message.creator, which is the user's address.
Okay, and once this contract exists, right, it has nothing to do with free compliments. It's just, it takes some SVG. We don't even know what that SVG is. Anyone can use it and call it to mint any SVG with any address.
If you really wanted to, you could do different stuff. You could make it so it has an allow list of only people who are allowed to mint it. You could make it so you have to manually approve people. But yeah, just making it work is totally easy.
Okay. All right, and then in terms of like my prereqs, I got to get my WSL set up so I can use Foundry and Open Zeppelin. I'll work on I'll do some homework to work on the contract part.
Yep.
And then once I have the contract though, then like whatever the front end stuff we can work on.
Yeah, and the front end stuff, Cursor can take care of it with the markdown file you added. And then let me just send you one more. I just want you to have this code, even though I know you're not going to look at it because it's cheating. But I'm sending the GitHub link to my on-chain analysis NFT. So it's the entire Forge project. It has the Open Zeppelin installed. It has the test file. It has the deploy script, all of it.
I mean, I can cheat, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's cheating. I think if you just do this code, yeah.
So what's funny is I don't even know how, I don't know how to cheat. That's why I don't.
Yep.
No, I don't mean like I'm morally opposed to it.
Yeah. Okay, great. Good. Yeah. Kicker's is morally opposed to it. She won't accept any help whatsoever. Yeah.
But it's I think what it is I don't even know how to, I'd have to learn the shortcut. I don't know how to take someone's code. So I feel like I want to go through the motions of typing things.
Let me just show you that. Yeah, totally. Let me steal the screen share and show you how I would do this.
All right. And then should I do that? Should I try to do here? Let me remove. Should I try to do that debugger locally?
Yeah, if you can get the debugger loading, it's going to be a lot faster because we don't have to wait for deployments.
Oh my God, I have too many things. All right, this. And let me just add this to my.
Love that people are watching, by the way. That is so cool.
Yes, hi everyone. And
And then while you're doing that, let me share my screen and show you what the steps you're going to go through.
Okay. You're not. Oh, no, you are. Hold on.
Okay, cool. You can see my screen?
Nope. Hold on. Oh, wait, hold on. Okay, sorry. Yes, but I need to look over here so I can see bigger. Okay, yes.
Okay, cool. So just in WSL, when you get it set up, we're going to make a folder. I'm just calling it test NFT. I'm going to go into the test NFT folder. I'm going to do, let me just copy it from here because I don't remember it. I'm going to do forge init, and I'm not going to do any templates. I'm just going to do forge init. And then based off the Open Zeppelin, so now we have the source file, and we have like source counter.sol, which is the what I
And
told
you're
you is for the
using, this
counter.
is like the WSL terminal outside of Cursor. The only time
Mhm.
I've ever used it was embedded into, I guess, VS Code.
Yeah, when you open it, when you install it, the command prompt on your computer turns into all of these options instead. So you can open up PowerShell, you can open up command prompt, you can open up Ubuntu and all of that stuff.
Okay.
And then, so this is the basic function. It's just counter.sol, and all it is it lets you increment a number. What we're going to do is we're going to first, from the Open Zeppelin docs, just copy paste this right here to install Open Zeppelin. And then Open Zeppelin is what most people use for all of the base contracts and stuff. It's not actually my favorite. It's just it's the best for ERC 721, so we're going to use it. There's other ones that use less gas and so on. Then we type in cursor space dot to open up this folder inside of cursor. And then just first here, we can come in and type in forge build just to build stuff and make sure that it runs. We can type in forge test to make sure the tests run. The tests are here, and all they do right now is increment and decrement the number. And what I was going to say is cheating, but I really don't think it's cheating, is we can come here and we can copy this entire thing into here. And now we have a really basic ERC 721. You can ignore where it says file not found. It's not an actual error. But this is our ERC 721 now. And we can come in and we can, I need to change it to be on-chain analysis. And then I need to change this to be on-chain analysis.t.sol. And then exact same thing, I'm just going to come in here and copy all of my tests. And they're really, I kind of overdid it on a test because I get really paranoid. But all it does is it generates 2 fake addresses. And then it says, hey, can the first address mint it? And if it mints it, is the URL what we expect it to do? Then it says, hey, can the next person do it? Is it what we expect it to do? Then it makes sure that it has the ERC 721 interfaces, so like Rainbow and Warplet, and everyone will be able to access it. Then it tests if it can transfer a token and all of that stuff step by step. And the last thing I'm gonna bring in here is the deploy script, because right now the deploy script is trying to deploy the counter. So if we come and we do forge build, it's gonna fail. It's gonna say, I don't know what counter is. So I'm in here under the folder SRC. Sorry, now under the folder script, I'm gonna come in and I'm gonna grab this file. And then this is really minimal. All it does is it verifies that we're running on base. It grabs my private key, which is the hex hash that you need to get. It needs the private key to start with an OX. So if it doesn't start with an OX, it just appends the OX onto it because Rainbow copied it without the OX. And then it just deploys it and prints out the address of where it deployed it to. Now if we run build, it should work. Cool. And then now we can run forge test, and it runs every one of the tests, and it says, here's how much gas was used, here's what worked, here's what didn't work. And then what we can do is we can type in forge script. There it is. Oh, let me bring over my end file, cp crypto work crypto alignment nft.env.env, and my .env is what has my basenet URL and what has my private key in it. So I can't really show it to you, but I can show you what the format's going to be like. I forgot to source it. And then here it's just going to test why is it saying counter.sol on chain analytics counter forge build maybe? Something's very wrong because it's trying to upload the old one. Forge Foundry clear build. Forge clean. There it is. So it now is doing a completely test. This was a simulation. If you want it to actually run, you have to pass in broadcast, and all of this is in the docs. But it just did a simulation of deploying it to a fake blockchain, and it was able to deploy it. Here's how much gas it used, and now here's the contract address that we can use if we were actually deployed. So you would do this, and then you would copy paste this deployment into Cursor under like let contract address equals this. And then the mint functionality in here, LM docs. All of this, you just need to pass it in here for the contract address, and the minting should work right off the bat. So I know that was a lot, but hopefully it, like, with the instructions that you have written down and with everything, you'll be able to recreate it. But yeah, so that's the really basic contract. Then you can come in here and you can say, update this to take arbitrary SVG in the mint instead of storing the data off chain. Let me bring it to agent mode, and it should hopefully take care of everything. Cool. So yeah, it just updates everything, and then that's it.
Cool. I can't see all the way far, but I can see the next step, which is like,
that's all
okay,
you need.
contract.
That's all you
build
need.
gonna build that simple contract, gonna like leverage Cursor and kind of go.
Yeah, and be sure to rely on the LLM docs. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Cursor will take care of all of this stuff, but like the first thing you want to do is you want to make sure you're on base because you don't want to be on mainnet. Then you want to call mint. You want to make sure it shows up in your wallet, and yeah.
This is cool. And have you been doing this in all your projects, adding LLM docs?
Yep. It's public, so anyone can use it. I got tired of doing the frame integration manually, and then if you want to be crazy, let me show you what it.
And really LLM docs mean literally it's just this is for an LLM to read so that it can tell you. Yeah.
Yep.
You're telling. That's very cool.
And then it's not related to anything, but let me show you how I actually do this too. I do documents, meme coin, match 3, open. This is the LLM docs for this project, and it's like 10,000 lines. And I had Cursor also make this.
I was just gonna say, did you build it, then you asked Cursor to write the docs for?
I had Cursor write all of this itself. I didn't even write. I didn't write any of the stuff in here. I was just like, hey, here's what the API I set up is, and it did all of this. And then now all I do is I open it up and I say like, hey, work on week 2, day 1 or whatever, and it does all the work itself.
It's really cool. All right, so then can I just test the frames?
Yeah, let's test it.
Okay. Let me.
So yeah, it should be what Stefan said. It should be npx frames.js /debugger.
Okay.
And then you should be able to just run that in your Cursor console, and it should work.
Okay, so yeah, I've got.
Okay. You might need WSL.
The splatting operator cannot be used to reference frames.
Try putting frames.js in a string.
In it.
Like try quoting it. Yeah.
Single, double, it doesn't matter, right?
Yeah, it should be fine. Yeah, we're just running into Windows issues.
I really love you for not trolling me for having Windows. I know you're on a Windows machine yourself.
I was a .NET programmer in an earlier life, so yeah, and it looks like it's working well. So all you have to do is hit Y and then hit Enter, and it should beautiful.
Completed. Okay. Okay.
And then yeah, let's just give it a second. And then this is one of like the most common misconceptions on people who make frames is they think the only way to debug is to use the official Warpcast debugger, and you have to set up Grok and you have to do all this stuff. But it's way too much for a person who's just trying to focus on making a frame because you have to learn so many things. And two, it's just, as you saw, the cycle is so slow because you have to deploy code, wait for it to finish deploying, and yeah.
Yeah.
Do we still have the localhost 3000 running?
Maybe not, but did I kill it? It is running.
Okay, great. And then, yeah, when this finishes running, it'll tell you the URL to load, which will probably be like 3001 or something. And then it's going to look the exact same as the hosted one, the debugger.framesjs.org.
You saw how excited I got when we deployed something and you saw like the console.log.
That's the fun part. Yeah.
Just so you know, that joy is a drug that I've been chasing for 25 years.
Yeah. No, trust me, I understand. Yeah.
And when I stopped being a professional like developer a long time ago, I just kind of gave up on ever feeling that again.
Yeah.
And this is it's so much fun to be doing this again.
Good. It feels really good. Yeah. Just the one thing is it's always going to, like 90% of it is going to feel like you're an idiot and you don't know what's going on. And 10% of it is going to be that feeling. So you have to really embrace it and hold on to the feeling.
And I think it's like, to your point, once you do once you've done something once, it's so easy to repeat, right? Like it compounds so quickly, but if you don't have like the initial stuff set up, it's like, it feels so overwhelming.
Yeah, it's a giant hurdle.
This runs the frames debugger, but locally.
Yep. So you can actually do localhost 3000 and hit debug.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. So you need to first select Farcaster v2 as the protocol.
Right. Okay. Farcaster v2 as the protocol. Oh, right. This is running on 310, but this is my frame. So then I click debug. That loads my local.
Yep. And then now any change you or cursor make, that's fine. You don't have to worry about it.
Oh, and that's because I'm local, because I'm not on my
It's because you don't
URL.
have a yeah, exactly. It's the URL is going to be different than what it's used to. Oh, okay. Here's where it gets a little difficult. For doing it locally, you need to update your FC frame. So if you look in the server.js, you should have something called like FC:frame. Okay. In here,
this?
You need to update the URL to be localhost 3000/API frame.
Okay, can I make this, and I can make this configurable based on the environment?
Exactly. Yep, that is exactly what I do for this.
Okay, so.
Yeah, because right now the local debugger is trying to load it from the HTTPS server.
Based on my environment. When in prod, keep free complement, but when in dev, use localhost 3000.
Perfect. And then let's see it and hope. Cool. That's not going to work because we need this to be on the server side. It's updating index.html. We need to update server.js.
Yeah, that's change needs to be made. So then reject.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just that one line in server.js needs to be updated.
Wow, that's a lot. Required.end. Right, like it does these like redundant, like it removes things that doesn't need to be removed.
Yeah, it's the exact same code. It's literally verbatim the exact same code. It just felt like rewriting it.
If is dev, and they're using an environment variable, not any okay, localhost port, okay, well known.
Yeah, it really isn't making any changes, but it's marking it as changes. That's really annoying.
You know what drives me crazy about the most is when it deletes my comments for no reason, and I'm like, why are you deleting my?
Are you using 3.5 or 3.7?
I actually don't know what I'm using right now.
Oh, it's on auto.
Oh, yeah. Where does it say?
Where it says auto, right next to the right of the agent.
Oh, auto. Yeah.
Yeah. I always use 3.7 or 3.5 because I don't like relying on it picking for me. But that code does look good.
Okay. So. Accept it.
Yep.
Okay. And then.
You might need to restart the server. I don't know if you're using a live reloader.
I am
Perfect.
using a live reloader.
Perfect. Then you're good.
Yeah.
Yep. And then now if you hit get a free compliment, it should open up the frame in locally. And now if you make any changes, they should immediately reflect in here instead of you needing to do any deploys or anything.
Okay.
Perfect.
Right.
So yeah, if you want to verify,
so I don't have to. Yeah. Yep. So mint this compliment. Oh, and then
it's gonna fail because you're not logged into your wallet again.
Oh, right.
Yeah, you need
wrong thing.
You need to 1 log in with Farcaster and then 2 connect it to Rainbow,
which I can do using like Frame locally. Cool. All right.
Yep.
This is awesome.
Cool. So yeah, I think your next goal after setting up WSL and getting the contract set up is to try making the basic minting without any inputs working in here.
Yeah.
And then if that
works, I can do this all
yeah.
locally, like deploy the contract, but I can just play around with these buttons locally. That way I'm not constantly deploying to production all my like
exactly. And people are going to be able to use the frame and they won't see it. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. This is beautiful.
Awesome. Yeah, I think you're in a good place.
Oh my God, we've got a Crypto the Game finalist.
Oh, that's so cool.
Good luck.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, I hope people vote for you.
Guess what? Yeah, I haven't voted yet, and I've got 40 minutes left with my one vote. So
you got to do that. You got to do that. When do you want me to bother you to see if you've made progress on this?
Oh my God, you're so sweet. And I have to look at my calendar for when I have focus time, so I can.
Let me know. Let me know, and we'll follow up, and we'll see if you're blocked on anything or anything. Yep.
You are really kind. I do. I like really, really appreciate it.
It's the best feeling.
So
I feel like there was I saw this amazing post on Warpcast yesterday. Let me see if I can find it. That this right here from one of the journalists that joined. Here, let me share my screen and show you. It made me so happy, except he did also do everything the hardest way possible because the docs are not updated.
Oh, I think I know which one you're talking about too. Hold on. Yeah, I'll pull it back up. Wait.
Yeah. So I think like this is exactly where you are right now. You signed into a frame, you got the user's address, and then now the next 2 things are going to be what you're going to work on.
Yeah.
Which I think is really cool. It feels really exciting, and it's like an amazing feeling to be able to do all of this stuff.
It's awesome. And like, it's like, if anyone can do it, anyone can do it. I love, people say anyone can do it, although it does take, like, I was telling you before, like I'm bad at accepting help. Because I have this like in my head, like everyone should do everything on their own, right? Like kind of roll up your sleeves. And I know I can do it on my own if I like, but it's actually really hard when you get like when you hit a roadblock, like, and you don't know what it is, like even on the little things, like you're trying to install a library and you're like, and in this world of like the solopreneur, like we're all kind of dispersed from like a lot of like founders in these small companies. Like I'm so used to working in these big orgs where it's like, there's a million people to ask for help. So it's just so nice that there's people like you out there.
Of course. I will tell you what I do myself when I get stuck on things is I open up aistudio.google.com. I jump in a Google Hangout with the AI and I show it. You can literally share your screen and talk out loud, and it'll be like, have you tried doing this? Have you tried doing that? It works really well.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, you can also rely on the LLM for it. Yeah.
Super cool. Awesome. All right. You can bother me anytime you want, but I will tell. My guess is it's going to be a week. In the next week. Let me see. In the next week, I'm going to focus on the contract piece.
All right. Yeah. And if you get stuck on anything, you know where to reach me.
And it's super overwhelming to think about. I know it's all there, but it's like, huh?
Yeah. If you just break it into step by step, and you'll get there. Yep.
But have a good rest of your day and happy Persian New Year.
Thank you. Great talking to you.
Bye. And for anyone here, I think I'm going to hit end stream and it might accidentally play all the GM Farcaster music. Oh well, bye everyone.